On this episode of Danna's Kick Cancer's Bud Journey, I'm going to talk about some of the books I've been reading, what I got out of them, and why you may want to consider putting them in your library if you are battling cancer right now, if you have friends or family that are. And not to mention, I will say, even though 3 of the books I'm going to recommend are very cancer-oriented and 2 are more general health-oriented, I think all of them have some great information in them. Hi, Danna Dimitri here with Lean Healthy Ageless. And if you're a woman 45 plus that's looking to have your best health, your best vitality, your best body, no matter what your age, you're in the right spot. I want the same thing. I'm turning 68 in a couple months. Can't believe it. And even though I've been diagnosed with breast cancer and had my lumpectomy, and I'm still pursuing making sure every little single viable cancer cell is kicked to the curb, you know, I am always so hopeful. We have so much control over our health. Our body wants to heal itself. It wants to regenerate. I've said this so many times before, 30% or so of our health, our wellness is out of our control. It is, due to genetics, environmental factors, things that we just can't completely eliminate from our lives. But the flip side is much, much better news. 70% is in our control, and that's predominantly lifestyle. It certainly is some of the health and medical choices we make, the things we choose not to put in our bodies, and I'm not by any means saying that every pharmaceutical drug is bad, because there are some we would die without them. Sometimes we need to kill a very virulent bacteria. Sometimes we need something to help our heart pump more effectively. But so many of the pharmaceuticals, I think, are killing us. So today, I want to introduce you to a couple books that have really been helpful to me. The first one, I don't even have a hard copy of. I listened to it Audible, and then I literally bought the entire virtual program, and that is Chris Beat Cancer. Chris Beat Cancer, you can go to chrisbeatcancer.com. He has a program called Square One that literally recaps everything from the book and modules, and I have purchased that one-time program. I think it was $149 because you get an opportunity to be on a live coaching call with him once a month. There's a private Facebook page where people are sharing a lot of information, but his video modules and the downloadable transcripts and lists and so forth are just an extra addition to the book. And I am following a lot of Chris's protocols, especially his juicing protocol, a lot of his recipes, and just got so many ideas. Now, one of the things I'll say about reading health and cancer books is you probably can't do everything and you have to customize it for yourself, but start somewhere and do what you can. So that's probably my number one favorite book because I love his personality. Chris was diagnosed with colon cancer. I think he's 23, 24 years old. I think he's 43 now. He has not had any recurrence of cancer, and what I love about Chris, if you like research and documented studies, he cites so many well-documented studies when he's talking about fruits and veggies and supplements. And I mean, he has done his research, and it gives me great confidence to hear that. My doctor, Dr. Mark Stengler, my naturopath, is an awesome doctor that is always, it's about the studies, it's about the proof. And I feel really confident when I listen and read and watch Chris's videos because he is so study-based. Another book I never thought I would necessarily buy, a Suzanne Somers book. Nothing against Suzanne. She's a lovely person. But I thought, she's a layperson. She doesn't even have a medical background. Okay, she had breast cancer back in around 2000. A lot of people heard her story that she had a lumpectomy with radiation and then did some mistletoe injections, which aren't approved here in US, but you can get them, I guess. And, I knew she was all about natural and all that. But I've got to tell you, I gained a lot of respect reading this book, Knockout, interviews with doctors who are curing cancer. And I have another book of hers that I didn't like as well, but it was good information. And she let these doctors speak for themselves. And I literally was introduced to some concepts I didn't know anything about, since I've never been on a cancer journey, about how having even my lumpectomy and my lymph nodes removed brought me at risk of metastasis and, just stirring up those cells and the potential release into other parts of your body. And I learned about some supplements that I also read about through lifeextension.com, which is a website. They're actually a supplement manufacturer, but they're highly respected. Patty Milligan, one of our key advisors, a dear friend of mine with a PhD in nutrition, really likes Life Extension. Other people, just high respect. So I ended up taking 2 or 3 supplements prior to surgery, and I continue to take them now, that are supposed to help me diminish that risk of stirring up all those cancer cells pre and post op. I learned some other things in here as well. I probably ended up taking 3 or 4 supplements because of reading this. Read many accounts of medical doctors and other health professionals who said they would never do chemo, they would never do radiation for any form of cancer. It just opened my eyes to see beyond what I'm being told in my conventional treatment. No disrespect for mainstream medical. I felt much more comfortable having my tumor removed. It was small. I feel comfortable that I did choose to remove it. I feel comfortable knowing that my lymph nodes were clean and clear, but that doesn't mean I have to take everything they tell me. They want to put you down a path. I knew for a fact I didn't want to take tamoxifen or any other estrogen blocker because of the side effects, and believe that many of the things I'm learning from Chris Beat Cancer and from Suzanne's book is I can minimize my risk of hormone issues. I don't need hormone blockers if I do some natural things. Another book that had some interesting information is The Longevity Diet by Walter Longo. He's an Italian. I love everything Italian, so I really liked him. But just kidding there, but I really do love everything Italian. But the reason I got this book is Patty Milligan gave me a copy. I'd only just skimmed it. So Chris from Chris Beat Cancer actually did a video, and I happened to be watching one of his YouTube videos, and he was interviewing him. And there's lots of talk about the benefit of fasting in killing cancer cells. Of course, also the low sugar thing and all that, which is a whole nother area that is controversial. And if you watch some of Chris Beat Cancer's videos, and guess what? He healed himself, and he was not on a low carb diet. He ate tons of fruits and, of course, vegetables and some grains and beans and all those kinds of things that turn to sugar. And so interestingly, when he interviewed Dr. Longo, he was talking about a fast that he calls it a mimicking fast, where you're actually eating between 800 and 1,000 calories a day for 5 days and going on this cycle so that your body can go into what's called autophagy. We've talked about this before on some of our videos when we talk about intermittent fasting. But according to many experts, true autophagy doesn't really happen until your body really feels like it's on a complete fast. For most people would say water fast. But I found it interesting, and I haven't done any fasting yet. I'm still considering it. And if I had a higher level of cancer, I probably would have done it already. It's funny how, we weigh and measure our risk and how motivated we are to do certain things. But I think I'm going to practice this mimicking diet 5 days, once a month, even if I didn't have cancer, because the more I read about it, the more intrigued I am for the health benefits. Because when you go into autophagy, your body cleans up all the excess junk cells. And let's just say you're doing an amazing job with supplements and food, and the cancer cells are dying off, and your body just, when it doesn't get sufficient food, it has all this time and energy it normally uses on metabolism of food, and it just goes in and does like spring cleaning. And it's opening up the drawers and cleaning out the junk. And some of that junk could be cancer cells and other disease producing garbage that you get cleaned out. So that was cool. Another book that Patty Milligan gave both Robin and I a copy of is DNA Restart by Dr. Sharon Malone. He's an MD and PhD, and he talks about how we can impact our DNA replication and so forth. It's a pretty fascinating book. Lots of interesting tidbits. I haven't implemented a lot of it. He talks a lot about oolong tea and the benefit of it. In it, some of you might remember we did the cracker test to help you determine what your carbohydrate threshold is. It wasn't very definitive for me, but it was interesting. He talks about things like little tidbits that are so interesting. As an example, did you know that eating organic celery is actually a problem if you're going to go out in the sun, because something happens in the organic celery that reacts with sun that can create some kind of contaminant? Because I'm buying all organic fruits and vegetables and doing all this juicing. So now I'm going back and reading aspects of his diet. Just lots of good information. You have to kind of sort through. You can't do everything. You've got to ask yourself, does this make sense for me? And you got to pray for discernment. The last book is Heal Breast Cancer, and it's by Dr. Veronique. Oh, you can pronounce the name better than I probably. She goes by Dr. V. She's been featured on some of the cancer video series. She has had breast cancer twice and healed it all naturally. She has her 7 essential steps to beating breast cancer. A lot of this is similar to Chris Beat Cancer. A lot of the things that I'm already learning, but I wanted to just read it from a woman who had specifically had breast cancer. She is doing some retreats. She has one coming up. Her website is breastcancerconqueror.com. That's a picture of her. She's a lovely, very attractive, mature woman. And I've been kind of following her on Facebook and getting some tips and so forth. So that's what I'm reading. And I just hope these resources can maybe be a blessing to you as well.